Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I'm excited to introduce you to some great friends of mine now that I've met over the last year. And we're going to talk about funding and trademark. It's something that I have heard a lot. Every now and then you get questions on it. There's always this unclarity about what trademarking really is and how do you fund for your business and what do you qualify for and things of that nature. So I wanted to switch things up a little bit. And normally I would be interviewing some franchisors or franchisees and going into a lot of that information. But this time I wanted to include just expand that a little bit just for my audience, because I know that you guys do ask these questions. So let me introduce myself again. I am TAMIKA from Precision Franchise, and I assist you with owning your own business in the franchise industry or proven business models. I also able to franchise your business, and I take you through a process where it's just to understand who you are, what type of business is going to make sense for you, what's going to align with you, with your lifestyle, with your goals, and with your transferable skills, and make sure that the type of businesses that you are considering is aligned with that. I've also expanded where I'm able to also help you sell your business and purchase businesses as well. And I can set up the payroll, et cetera, for those new businesses. So we are expanding, and I'm excited about what 2023 has in store. So without further ado, I do want to introduce my speaker. We're going to start with Hassan CME. Take it away.
Been in banking for a little over 20 years, where I spent most of my career in commercial lending. My commercial lending experience ranges from underwriting small business loans through the SBA program to underwriting participations in syndicated transactions in the hundreds of millions of dollars, and a lot of the stuff in between. Currently, I'm a relationship manager at a regional bank where I manage a portfolio of middle market commercial clients. And generally speaking, these are companies with revenues in the tens of millions of dollars. Now, while my day job is as a banker, I also volunteer as a SCORE mentor. SCORE is the nation's largest network of volunteer business mentors and is dedicated to helping small business owners plan, launch, manage, and grow their businesses. All right, my goal today is to provide you as entrepreneurs and small business owners with an understanding of what bankers are looking for when considering your commercial loan request. By the end of this presentation, you should be familiar with the initial financial documentation that just about every applicant needs to provide to a bank when seeking a business loan. Another takeaway should be an understanding of the key questions bankers attempt to answer when considering your loan request.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Hassan. That was very informative. And there was a couple of things in there that I didn't really know. So that was great, especially in preparation or have you prepare for sitting in front of a bank officer. Like, do you need to know what it is that you should have and have your ducks in a row? And I don't think there's a lot of conversation around that specific part. So that's good. Thank you so much for that. All right, so Deborah, you are up. Excited to introduce you now.
First, thank you so much for having me. I'm delighted to be here and learned a lot about funding from Hassan. But my name is Deborah C Mortimer, and I wanted to tell you a little bit about who I am so that you can try to figure out, well, why should you listen to me about trademarking? So first and foremost, I am a licensed and practicing trademark attorney. I've been an attorney for the last 17 years. I'm also an entrepreneur, owner, and principal attorney of Mortimer Legal PLLC, which is primarily a trademark law practice. And I'm also a children's book author and co-owner of an independent publishing company, Leap Forward Publishing. And in my work as a trademark attorney, I work with small to mid-sized businesses, solopreneurs, authors, podcasters, and other content creators. And one thing that they always ask me when they come to me is, what exactly is a trademark? Because they've heard this word floating around over the place, and they know that it's something that's important for their business, but they don't necessarily know exactly what a trademark is, especially in relation to other forms of intellectual property. So we're first going to establish that framework of what a trademark is.
This has been very enlightening from the both of you. And I'm just glad I was able to share this with my audience and my community as well. There was one that you said that really surprised me, or maybe it spoke to me as a former and many moons ago as an insurance agent. I used to be in insurance. So to know that about wills, that you can put the trademark in, in a will.
Yes,
So that was like, oh, okay. I didn't put that together. So
property. It's an asset. Yes,
yeah,
definitely.
makes sense. It makes sense. And I second that. When I speak with clients and they get to that phase of the process, I always highly recommend that when you get to that point, you want to deal with a franchise attorney. It's very important to have a specific attorney that works with the field. In the franchise industry, the common misconceptions for me, well, the first obvious one is food. Everyone, when they think about franchises, the first thing they think about is food. And it's like literally like maybe a little less than 30% of all franchises are actually food related. So I feel like that's something that's, a lot of people would not know, that you have to have an incredibly high credit score to be able to own one. I think a lot of people think they have to be 750 and better. And that's not the case either. Capital, yeah, you do need to have some capital, but I think that when people are thinking about the empire brands is what we call it, such as like the McDonald's, et cetera, like that's where you really have to be capital strong. And there's so many brands that you can invest in and own that is not, that's a fraction of the cost, honestly. And also that it has to be full-time and that you have to be in that industry already, and it's not. That's why I always speak about the transferable skills, because if you get to understand the type of things that you like and that you're passionate about, that then translates into so many other different types of businesses. A lot of people don't know that you're probably doing business every day with a franchise and didn't even realize it's a franchise. And the last thing I would say that's definitely something I hear overused all the time is the word franchise. People think that everything is a franchise. It's not. People think that because you have more than one location, that, oh, that's a franchise, or somebody has a particular type of business and it's like, oh yeah, I know somebody that has like 5 franchises. Like, no, you don't, but okay. So so yeah, there are particular things that makes a franchise, and they're very specific, and it's heavily regulated, so just be careful with that. So those are my misconceptions. I would like to turn it over to you, Hassan. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the common misconceptions in your industry?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I discussed a couple of them. Like, so one is really like the turnaround time. I think with a lot of borrowers, it's when they need the money, I need it now. And that's when they approach a bank for financing. And it's a process. Going to a bank, there's, I'm in New Jersey. And I think when I last checked, there were 107 different banks in New Jersey. And I'm not talking about just 107 different locations and branches. I'm talking about 107 different financial institutions that operate in New Jersey. And, some of them, a $600,000 loan requires approval from the top of the house. Others, $1 million loan is a waste of time because it's too small. And there's and I think for most of the audience here, it's probably going to be somewhere on the lower side, but not all banks are equal, and some have quicker turnaround times than others. But generally, banks take a while before they approve a loan. There's a lot of due diligence that goes in. The banks have to know who the customers are and research. And I think particularly when you think about, like, you see advertisements about these fintech companies that aren't held at the same by the same requirements of banks. They can turn around loans in 3 days or so, but you're going to be paying 30% interest rate for those type of loans. So it's a trade-off. And so I always recommend for clients to even if you're not interested in taking a loan now, meet your banker, find out, get in contact with people, because we saw what happened when the PPP loans came out, that, you know, a lot of small business owners were left out because they didn't have that connection with a banker, because they never established it and they waited too long. So so I always recommend, you know, just meet a banker, meet your local banker, find out what their process is and how long the typical loan takes in their institution, just so that you have it in the back of your head when you're looking to actually apply for a loan. Another misconception that I often see, and it's a little frustrating for business owners, particularly when they're in growth mode, is, okay, I got this new purchase order in from, you know, this large, you know, new customer, and I need a loan because I need to fulfill this purchase order. And they look at that purchase order as, hey, this is my collateral. Well, a purchase order is not collateral. You know, it's, and I think it gets confused with an accounts receivable, which is an asset. It's an asset that's on your balance sheet, which signifies money that's owed to you from a sale that was previously done, from usually in a B2B situation. So while an accounts receivable is an asset on your balance sheet, a purchase order, while it's helpful, particularly if you're looking to, you have a business plan and you're showing projections that show increasing revenue, and you have that purchase order to support it, that unfortunately that purchase order is not collateral, so a bank can't look at that as collateral. So those are two major misconceptions that I see often.
I think convincing some clients that they need the comprehensive search, because they are under the misconception that they can, well, I did my own search. I did my own search on the USPTO and it wasn't there, and so it's fine. But I often give them an example of something like, let's say, Starbucks. This is a good example. A lot of attorneys use this. So you want to name your business Starbucks with 2 S's, and you look it up on USPTO and nothing comes up. Nothing comes up. So you're like, okay, it doesn't come up. So this is good. I'm good, right? I can go forward. But then if you file that application, you will quickly find that Starbucks, the giant, is going to come after you really quickly. So they don't understand. They think that when they file an application, when they come up with a brand name and they're looking for it, they're looking for something exactly like it. But like I said in my presentation, it's the same or similar. So when we do a comprehensive search, we have to do this broad search, looking at all registered trademarks, pending applications, but we also look at businesses that have been formed, domain names, social media, because we want to see what is out there. Because not only are you looking for something that is the same or similar, that's what the USPTO is looking at, but when it gets to the publication phase, your application is now publicized and it's open for any third party that's interested in your application to challenge your application, regardless of whether they're registered or they own a registered trademark or not. So to convince people that they need a comprehensive search to really look to see if there's anything out there that's conflicting can be, sometimes they just don't want it. They don't want it, but it's an important part of the process if you don't want to waste your time and money. I would say first and foremost is coming up with a distinct name, because there are certain names that you can't use for trademarking. Like it can't be a generic name. And coming up with something that's distinct, that you don't have to continuously do a search after search after search, because with an average of 2,000 trademark applications filed a day, what's becoming distinct is becoming less and less and less. So that's one of the pitfalls, in that they have to come up with a distinct name, and sometimes that's difficult to do. And we have to go back to the drawing board, because there's ways to go around it if you want to take the risk of filing an application with something that out there that's possibly similar. But most of my clients tend to want to just start all over and find something new, because I've luckily been able to have clients who've come to me at the onset and have not established their brand. So that's helpful. And again, it's just with the comprehensive search, convincing them that the comprehensive search is important, because we want to avoid those office actions that can be detrimental to your application in the long term. So that's why we need to do the comprehensive search in the beginning. That's pretty much it.
So, I think both of you actually mentioned this earlier. So if you're looking for, to get your business, get a trademark, you want a trademark attorney, or you want to get a franchise attorney, somebody that specializes in, what they do. And similar, if you're looking for a business loan, I always tell people to surround yourself with two professionals, a CPA and an attorney, but both have to specialize in business transactions. Because, particularly when you're looking to acquire a large loan, there's a lot of legal documents. There's what they call covenants involved. And, that's, these are things that banks put in place to make sure that, hey, you got to operate the way you said you're going to operate. If not, we're going to come in and, we're going to, liquidate your assets and things of that nature. And you just want to have an attorney that specializes in business transactions to go over that documentation, just to make sure that, to the best of their ability, they can make sure that you're protected, and that any you just want to make sure that, because the bank is always going to be in the best position in these documentations, but you just want to make sure that it's not excessive. And so you want to have a good attorney that knows how to handle lending transaction to be a partner. And similar on the accounting side, you want to have a CPA, someone that's knowledgeable of banking transactions to help position your business in the best possible light. If you're not really familiar with what your balance sheet assets and liabilities are and what they mean, you just want to have somebody to consult with that can help explain your balance sheet to you, and leverage and liquidity, and how covenants impact your balance sheet. So these type of advisors are helpful for you to have.
Thank you. And all I can say is, don't keep me a secret. This is the reason why we don't know you don't know what you don't know. So don't keep me a secret. Share this information with your friends, with colleagues, with your network. If you have any questions on the franchise industry, it's at precisionfranchise.com. All of my social medias is precisionfranchise.com. There's also resources that you can get on the website. So if you go to precisionfranchise.com, you can actually go to there's a questionnaire where you can rate the types of industry that you do have interest in, and we can set up a call, and all of that is located there. There's also an education course as well that's located on the website. So that would be it. I hope this 9-minute over was worth your time. Again, if you have any questions at all, shoot me an email. I'm at TAMIKA@precisionfranchise.com, and I will see you on in the next one. Thank you so much, guys.